The NFL loves bravado until a rookie actually dares to sound self-aware, unfiltered, and unapologetically confident in front of the microphone. And that's exactly why Shedeur Sanders' words ahead of Browns versus Bills have people uncomfortable, defensive, and quietly nervous. This wasn't trash talk, it wasn't hype, it wasn't manufactured confidence, it was something far more dangerous to the league's usual narrative machine. It was a young quarterback standing in the middle of pressure, criticism, turnovers, losses, disguised defenses, relentless blitzes, and public doubt. And instead of shrinking, instead of hiding behind cliches, he leaned forward and essentially told the NFL world that he understands exactly where he is, exactly what's going wrong, and exactly why that doesn't scare him at all. That's the part that rattles people. Not interceptions, not completion percentage, not wins or losses. What shakes the room is hearing a rookie say out loud that defenses are throwing everything at him, and instead of being overwhelmed, he feels proud. Proud that teams are dialing up pressure. Proud that he's getting their best shot. Proud that this season, right now, is the foundation of what he's becoming. That's not supposed to be the script. Rookies are supposed to sound unsure. They're supposed to defer. They're supposed to talk about adjusting quietly. Sanders didn't. He framed every struggle as ownership, every mistake as accountability, every hit as information. And when he said, flat out, that he has not been playing winning football lately, that admission hit harder than any boast ever could, because it came with zero excuses and zero fear. The NFL world is split right now between people who hear those comments and think humility and growth, and people who hear them and think defiance. And that split is exactly why this interview matters, exactly why it's being dissected, and exactly why the message ahead of Browns versus Bills feels heavier than just another pre-game availability. This wasn't a quarterback asking for patience. This was a quarterback demanding time to build something real. What actually happened here is simple on the surface but explosive underneath. Shedeur Sanders sat down ahead of a massive matchup against Buffalo, a defense known for structure, disguise, pressure, and discipline, and instead of dodging questions about turnovers, completion percentage, or growing pains, he leaned directly into them. He talked openly about pressing too much when falling behind, about costly mistakes, about needing to complete the ball more with no excuses attached. He acknowledged defenses baiting quarterbacks, not just him, but made it clear that pressure is part of the job. He explained that trust with receivers is not linear, that relationships fluctuate, that progress doesn't disappear because one week looks messy. He said the quiet part out loud, that his entire career has been played under pressure on the field and off it, and that none of it phases him. And when asked about Josh Allen, the prototype he's about to face, he didn't posture or compare. He simply acknowledged greatness and kept the focus on winning. Before we go any further, if you're still watching this, make sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because conversations like this don't happen on highlight shows. They happen when you actually listen to what players are telling you. Now here's where the controversy deepens, because Sanders' comments force a reframe of how we talk about rookie quarterbacks. The loudest takeaway people are trying to push is that he's struggling, that the completion percentage has dipped, that defenses are more sophisticated, that the NFL is humbling him. All of that may be technically true, but it completely misses the message he sent. When Sanders says, "I just got to complete the ball more," and "there's no excuse," he's not deflecting responsibility to scheme, receivers, or coaching. He's taking the burden squarely on himself. That alone alters how a locker room hears him. Veterans don't tune out a young quarterback who owns his mistakes. Receivers don't disengage from a quarterback who openly acknowledges chemistry is a work in progress. Coaches don't worry about ego when a player admits he hasn't played winning football. Those statements aren't weakness, they're currency in an NFL locker room. Listen carefully to how he talks about pressure. Most young quarterbacks describe blitz-heavy game plans as something to survive. Sanders describes them as validation. He says he's excited to get everyone's best, proud that teams are dialing it up against him, and clear that this season is where everything translates. That's not accidental language. That's a quarterback telling defenses that the film they're putting out now is not the finished product. That's a quarterback telling the league that every disguised coverage, every simulated blitz, every turnover is being cataloged, processed, and learned from in real time. When he says this is the foundation, that's a warning disguised as optimism. The completion percentage discussion is another flashpoint. Sanders refuses to chase a number. He says he's not looking at stats, he's looking at wins, and he ties that mindset directly to conversations he's had with veterans about what actually matters in this league. That matters because it reframes how the media should judge him. If he were defending his accuracy or citing college success, the criticism would be easy. Instead, he acknowledges that being the best at completing passes at Colorado doesn't mean anything now unless it leads to wins. That's growth speaking. That's a player who understands the difference between being productive and being effective. There's also a deeper layer when he talks about relationships. Sanders compares trust within the offense to real relationships, admitting they aren't always perfect, that some weeks feel connected and others don't, and that progress doesn't vanish just because timing is off. That honesty matters because it aligns with how veteran receivers later describe working with him. They talk about patience, communication, learning in real game reps, and building understanding that can't be replicated in practice. That's not a fractured locker room narrative. That's a developing one. When the conversation turns to deep balls, Sanders again avoids ego. He calls it just a throw. He refuses to let success in one area define his game, and emphasizes the need to complete underneath routes, to stay on schedule, to avoid pressing. That self-awareness is critical because defenses will take away what you do best. He knows that. He's telling you that. And he's telling Buffalo that if the deep shot isn't there, he's still working to move the chains. Facing the Bills amplifies everything. This isn't just another defense. It's a structured, disciplined unit that disguises looks and forces quarterbacks to diagnose quickly. Sanders acknowledges that NFL defenses are more organized, more detailed, and that adjustment comes through reps, trial and error, and film. Importantly, he doesn't shy away from the fact that his learning is happening live, in games, under pressure. That admission alone reframes expectations. He's not pretending this is seamless. He's saying growth hurts. Even when discussing not being on the field and watching games slip away, Sanders doesn't deflect blame. He says it was tough, that he wanted to fight with his guys, that there's work to do. No drama, no finger-pointing, just accountability. That tone matters because it contrasts sharply with the caricature critics want to paint of him. The broader team context reinforces his message. Defensive players talk about execution, opportunity, respect from opposing offenses, and pride in matchups. Receivers talk about patience, development, and belief in what the offense can become. Nobody is distancing themselves. Nobody is undermining him. That's important. When Sanders says wins are what he wants left on tape, he's not lowering expectations. He's setting a standard. When he says he hasn't played winning football lately, he's not confessing defeat. He's identifying the target. And when he says he's excited about challenges, pressure, and facing elite opponents, he's telling the NFL that the noise doesn't scare him because he's already lived inside it. This interview didn't send a message because it was loud. It sent a message because it was calm, direct, and brutally honest. The controversy isn't that Shedeur Sanders spoke boldly. The controversy is that he spoke like someone who knows exactly what this league demands and isn't asking permission to grow into it. Ahead of Browns versus Bills, that's not just confidence, that's intent.